The update this morning is there is no update. However, we did hear from his agent, Rich Paul. Take a listen.
I think when you have a player like him, he unlocks something on one of all 30 teams. The team he chooses, I don't know yet. There's a seriousness that comes with this. There's a competitiveness that comes. We know how hard it is to win championships. No roster, no organization is guaranteed to win a championship, but you do want to be competitive. You do want to have an opportunity come late April and early May to compete at a high level and give yourself the best chance of winning. He's not chasing the ring. You hear these things like, why do we have to chase? He got 4. There's nothing to chase. He's not chasing a ghost or anything like that. But when you've worked this hard to position yourself the way you have, and you can actually decide what you want to do, who wouldn't take advantage of that? So we're not worried about nobody's opinions or anything like that. He's going to make the best decision for himself. We'll see what happens.
Heels of that stunner of an event, main event, I should say, UFC reporter Brett Okamoto joining us here from UFC 329. Obviously not the result McGregor wanted. And really the fashion by which it happened is the most stunning result, Brett. So what exactly did we witness and how was it received in-house there?
Anything can happen in live sports, as we all know, especially this sport. And Conor McGregor made the decision to come out with a very wild strike. I don't know if he just felt like he needed to set the tone on this. The odds of that strike landing, he basically sprinted out from his corner and threw a high, violent, wide-ranging head kick. He wasn't really even in range to catch Max Holloway, and his leg buckled on it. I don't know if psychologically he was trying to send a message to Max Holloway that after 5 years off that he was still going to be the same guy, but clearly he wasn't the same guy. His body gave out, his knee very clearly buckled, and then the rest of the fight was basically Conor McGregor falling down to the point that Max Holloway was basically kind of standing away from him, pointing at him. It was clear to everybody in the arena that he was injured, that he was not going to be able to continue. And so when the shock wears off, which it wears off pretty fast, then the disappointment sets in. I just think the entire arena was disappointed. People were getting out of there pretty quickly. This was 5 years in the making, and then it was over in 69 seconds.
The opening move that you mentioned had shades of Jorge Masvidal trying to, or eventually knocking out Ben Askren, right? Like that sort of wild, aggressive move out the gate, and obviously it didn't land. But moving forward for both Conor McGregor and Max Holloway, this was something that Max planned on having a third iteration of this battle. Where do we stand with the possibility of that ever happening?
Yeah, it's really early to say, and I got to be honest, I don't see the UFC running this one back. There's a lot of dust that needs to settle. First off, we need to find out exactly what the injury is to Conor McGregor, how long he's going to be out, does he still want to continue? And then you start talking about his contract. He has one fight left on his UFC contract, and I felt that the result of this one was really going to push the UFC and him one way or another. Would he stay with the UFC, or would he potentially fight out his contract and go off and fight somewhere else, take on an exhibition match, whatever the case is as his career continues? He turns 38 in 3 days. So, again, a lot of dust to unsettle. I don't anticipate him. Obviously, if it's a torn ACL, the soonest he could come back is about a year, and that's being ambitious given his age and what his body has been through. So a lot to unpack, but I got to say, I do not believe that we will see a Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor fight. If he does fight again in the UFC, it'll be some sort of either a nostalgic fight against an older fighter, or the UFC will give him somebody that they want to grow, like a Paddy Pimblett or someone of that nature.
What's your biggest takeaway from Spain's win over Belgium yesterday?
Well, I think that Spain were much the better team, to be honest. I know the game was a lot closer in the end, but Spain were the better team. They deserved to go forward, and now we've got a mouth-watering semi-final.
Oh, yeah.
France and Spain, they're arguably the two best teams in the competition, and they're going to meet to see who gets to the final. But Spain were well-worthy winners yesterday.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Spain advances to face France in Tuesday's semi-final. Let's take a look back at the history between these two teams. In the 12 competitive play matches between them, friendlies not included, France has won 6. While 2 have ended in a draw, France also leads this year's World Cup with 16 goals. So, Steve, who are you giving the edge to in this match with the way that France has been playing?
This will be a close game. France will probably be the favourites. They're the ones in better form. But if anything, Spain have knocked them out of competitions very recently, particularly in the European Championships when Spain went on to win it. So Kylian Mbappe there is in fantastic form. So you'd probably give them the slight edge at this moment in time.
Yeah.
All right, Danny, look, regardless of the sport, fights between teammates or ex-teammates are more common than I think the average fan realizes. But with that said, should this or should this not be an issue for the league right now?
It shouldn't be. This happens all the time. I wouldn't say it's a day-to-day basis type of thing. But it's crazy enough. I was looking at his face, too, because I was right there next to him when that interview was taking place. I had just left the building. When Shams dropped the bomb, I was like, what? Shams, what happened? I didn't know this took place. And he seemed fine to me. But sometimes these things need to happen for newfound respect to happen. You know, these guys were teammates, former teammates now. They respect each other, I'm sure, even more so now after this implication or this scenario has happened. But sometimes it shouldn't come to physical blows. I don't promote violence, but sometimes it takes that for some guys to settle things. And hopefully moving forward, they'll be fine. But now the fans get even more smoke when those two teams match up. So we love to see it.
Okay, but wait, moving forward, I need to like girl logic this ever so slightly, because if you are my friend and you hate someone, it doesn't matter if I have met them. It doesn't matter if I know them. I now automatically hate them too. So like girl logic wise, how does this potentially actually have like lingering effects for everyone going forward?
Well, girl logic, I think it puts some more implications with Giannis of taking on the hate toward Milwaukee, even though he left on his own merit. But the other guys from Miami that are in Milwaukee now are taking on that challenge and that smoke that Tyler has with Bam. So we're going to see some edginess, some competitiveness when those two teams match up. And now Giannis, again, with your girl math, is taking that on too. So he has an extra incentive to beat the Miami or the Milwaukee Bucks now that he's a Miami Heat member. So we're going to see some good battles between these two programs, with these two organizations, of course, according to girl math. But even without that, we're going to see competitive nature, because these guys would love to compete and don't want to lose to their old teams.
Over the course of 43 days and some odd hours, Kelsey Fendler captured our attention by becoming the first American woman to row solo from California to Hawaii. Like row, row, row your boat. A 2,400-mile journey in which she absolutely smashed records and probably ate more peanut butter than any one person should be allowed to consume. Alone, over open water, through storms, quiet nights, and nothing to really occupy her but her thoughts and maybe some music and a hell of a lot of hope and guts to inspire women everywhere, because yes, we can do hard things. And I'm not kidding, Kelsey. I have been looking forward to this moment since I think I discovered your journey.
Story.
So first of all, thank you for joining us. Congratulations. How are you feeling?
Thank you for saying that, because that is kind of the whole point, is if I can get some women to feel excited about doing their own hard stuff, like that's the entire point of this. So I'm feeling so many things right now. I think it's still taking a little time to process everything that's happened. I've been really busy, so I haven't really gotten the chance to really reflect on like the fact that this all came to pass. I didn't even think it was possible to break the men's record coming into this. So it's still a thing that I'm still kind of telling myself happened, and I still think I have to remind myself that this just happened.
Yeah, because you didn't set out to necessarily set a record. You wanted to make sure that you could do this yourself as an individual.
And the women's record.
And the women's record, but all that other stuff came after. So again, as you sort of sit with your accomplishment, what has maybe amazed yourself about yourself the most?
Honestly, I think I knew that I could go on a little sleep, but the utter lack of sleep that I was able to function on was pretty interesting to me, because I didn't know how that was all going to go. Like I had a pretty big plan in the beginning for the first week to try to see how far I could get with almost no sleep, because the first week is really challenging. Getting off the coast, and when you're sleeping as a solo, that's when you're the most vulnerable, and all the currents and wind and wave direction usually push you either south or back towards the shore for at least the first week or the first like 300 miles getting off the continental shelf. So my plan was to sleep as little as possible, and I was really only sleeping like an hour a day that first week and a half, and then the rest of the trip I was only sleeping 4 hours a day in like maybe 2-hour segments, and I was able to actually function a lot better than I thought I was going to on that little amount of sleep, and my body actually like really adjusted, and that was something that was really surprising to me.
How were you able to function at all, Kelsey, with so little sleep, and then do something so physically demanding?
Yes.
I'm in awe of this.
Bodies are amazing. I mean, honestly, and I think I do believe that women are really good at endurance sports. We're super capable of dealing with pain and emotional regulation under stress. And I think just like what a body can do is, we don't even know, honestly. Like every year in the Olympics, people push the boundaries even further. So it's really hard to tell what a person can really do, because every year in sports, people go past the perceived limit. So
But this is,
I don't know. I think it's really capable.